Yeah, hello guys. Good evening. My name is Emmanuel, and this is our Pip Capital Academy. This is a weekly analysis, and today is 6th of March 2021. So, analyzing for the new week, which will be starting tomorrow evening, 7th of March 2021. So, with the big move we have that occurred on US dollars pairs last week and also on the XY, we can see we had a good news on US dollar because of the news on dollar, so which made the market bullish fundamentally, and we're also going to check technically and see how all these align together. We can see dollar gains on inflation trade, also recover. So you can see the reason why dollar was bullish last week because of the news that favored our dollar, the news that came out, and US job growth to also beat expectations. So and all the vaccines, coronavirus updates, all these also bring the market bullish for US dollars. So now we're going to check US dollar index, that is the XY. We know that the fate of USDPs lies on the XY. That is, if US dollar index, that is the XY, if the XY is bullish, then USD will be bullish, and if the XY is bearish, then definitely USD will be bearish. So I'm going to analyze the pair and we'll see what's up on DXY. Alright, so I'm going to first start on the monthly time frame. Okay, so we can see a big drop down here. We can see how DXY dropped all the way down from 85, that's 1985, all the way down to 88 before we eventually saw the downtrend broken. So please you can pay attention carefully to how analyzing plays. So after the breakout, this was the first high we have, and this first high is very important, so make that black for my resistance, and this is red for my support. Alright, so these two zones are very important because they will be like the basics of foundation, or let me say the bedrock for all our other analysis. So these are two zones, important zones after the breakout from this downtrend. So we have a resistance here and we have a support here, and now we have to see what happens next. So after price was rejected here and was also rejected here, we can see price broke out here and eventually was a fake breakout, and we can see how price has been ranging between the zone. We have a fake breakout, so let's say we even have breakout, we can see price drop all the way down all to this point, alright, and we can see we have another big structure level down here which price respected several times, and we can see price coming all the way back into these main zones, the resistance and support zones, before we eventually had another big breakout. We had another big breakout here, and we can see how price also broke out of the trend, and price kept dropping and came all the way back into this zone, and price kept ranging between these resistance and support. Don't forget it is the black and the red line. So we can see now that that was January, price retested the support zone December. Retested the support zone December. So we've seen that since beginning of this year, DXY has been bullish. It has been bullish. I analyzed these early this year also. Now US dollar will be bullish throughout this year because we are a major resistance, a major support zone rather, and we can see it has been bullish for a long time. That means we're expecting our price to move all the way up to this point, expecting price to get all the way up to this point, and which will take several months or can even take years. So now let's do back test and see what happens in the past in between these zones. So we can see that price got to this certain point and we had a rejection here. So this point is also very important. So we should expect some rejections at this point. So if we are taking a long trade, then we can close some positions here. We should be looking forward to this point. We can have a rejection at this point in time. So now let's go to smaller time frame to see what is happening on DXY beta. Don't forget, on monthly time frame I've analyzed and we've seen that we are in a bullish trend. We're in a bullish trend. So we can, okay, I'll go on daily time frame. Alright, so on daily time frame we can see from the resistance to the support zone. Then I'll be drawing my trend line. I'll be drawing the trend line. I'm sorry. Okay, so this closed above the resistance, so that means I'll be taking this new high as my first resistance, as my first point. And alright, so this closed above it, so this is my trend line. So why did I choose this point and not this point? Because this is my trend line, this is my resistance line, and we can see this bullish candle, this candle closed above it and not below. So I can't take this point. It is not valid for any year. So that is why I need to take an high that closes below this resistance. And we can see after we finally had a breakout, this was our first high, which is our new resistance. And we can see this is the new high. We first have this high, but we can see we have another swing high up here. So that is why I consider this point as my second high. Now we eventually had a breakout on DXY. So at least I'll be expecting price to move all the way up here. That will be our first TP, and this second point, second resistance, will be our second TP before we eventually take the ride all the way up to this point. So now if you are not in this trade, and we can see that price has moved, and we notice that the market has been bullish and there was no pullback at all. So it is very dangerous to enter the market at this point in time because we're expecting a pullback. And if you check clearly at, if you backtest for this reversal, you can see we have a support here. We have a support here. We have a support at this point. You can see there is a support here. So that means there's high possibility that we have a rejection at this point and price reverse all the way down to retest the trend line before we eventually now have the big move all the way up here. So for DXY, my entry point will be at the trend line, at the retest of the trend line, and we'll wait for a good confirmation before we eventually long the pair all the way up here for DXY. That's on daily time frame. So this signal is on daily time frame. So that is if we eventually have the rejection we have here. But if price should eventually break this support, which is supposed to be a new resistance here, if price should break here and close above this support, then we can look for a long, and our stop loss will be just below this support level, and we also have a take profit at this point here. So with the look of the market right now, so we know that for the new week we're expecting market DXY to be bearish, even though we are in a bullish trend. We're expecting like a retracement, a pullback. The market has moved a lot for this past week, and we expect a pullback in the market. We expect a pullback in the market. Let's check on 4-hour time frame. You can see we're already seeing signs of rejection. On DXY. We can see the candlesticks, how it is. We can see after all this big movement, we can see that buyers are already taking a rest. So there's high possibility, high tendency price is going to retrace up to this point. We will be looking for an entry at this point before we long DXY. So what does this imply on USD pairs? That means for this new week, if price should fail to break this point, then this new week USD will be bearish. Because DXY is bearish, then USD will be bearish. So now let's go to other pairs. Okay, so a pair I would like to check out, okay, good, is AUD USD. Alright, so let me go on weekly time frame to okay, I've analyzed this pair, so I won't clear the chart, so I will just start from okay, yeah, we can see price is within this zone after the breakout from this downtrend. So I just want us to see the bigger picture before I zoom in back into the zone on the daily time frame. So we can see now that we're within this zone, and we can see price has retested the resistance, and we had a big rejection. We can see this red candle engulf the previous bullish candle, so which it shows a big sign for a rejection, a reversal. And this is my trend line, and we can see price has broken the trend line on daily time frame. Price broke the trend line, which shows us a good sign that Australian dollar is losing its strength. But because of what we've analyzed on DXY, we know this week we first have a bearish movement. That is DXY is going to be bearish to retest the trend line. So same thing is happening here on AUD. So, and I told you, since DXY will be bearish, that means USD will be bearish. So that means AUD, Australian dollar, will gain strength against USD. Once market opens, we're expecting a pullback, and which also respects our technical analysis. That is, we have a breakout from this trend line, then we're expecting price to retest the trend line. So we won't enter this trade until we have a pullback, until we have a reversal, until price retests the trend line. Then we look for opportunity after we have a retest before we short the pair. Then our first take profit will be at this point, and our next take profit will be all the way down here. But we are looking for opportunity when price retests the trend line. Don't enter the trade here. Market has moved a lot, and we don't have a retracement yet. We don't have a pullback here. If you go on for a time frame, you can see the big move, and it's showing sign of rest already. So there's high tendency we have a retest, a pullback up to this point to retest the trend line. Then we can take a short trade on AUD USD. So that means we are looking forward for the short on AUD USD for the first target, which is this point, and our stop loss will be above the resistance zone. That is around 105 trade. So this is a good trade to take for the new week, so by using a sell limit order for this trade. Alright, so the next trade I'm going to share with us, okay, yeah, Euro USD, it's also a nice trade to take. Okay, reset chart. right here. So we can see after the breakout from this downtrend, big downtrend, it is very important to spot out the first resistance and the support level. So my blue line I used to represent my resistance, the first resistance, and the red line as my support level. And we can see price has been ranging. You can see we had a breakout from those zones, but now let's come to the present. You can see price is playing around this zone. So let me zoom in so we can see what is eventually happening. So you don't forget the blue line is my resistance, and for the weekly candle close below it. That means weekly candle broke the support. Don't forget the resistance has turned a support, but the support has been broken. So that means there's high tendency that this will eventually stand as a resistance, as a new resistance for us in the new week. So I'm expecting, okay, let's go on for our time frame. All right, so we can see the big drop down. Wait, let's go on weekly time frame to see what I have here. Okay, after drawing my trend line, we can see the breakout. It shows clearly on daily time frame. You can see the breakout from the trend, and we even had a retest, and price eventually came all the way down to retest to touch this broken resistance, which now turns support. So now there are two things expect to happen once the market opens, because we're expecting our US dollar to be bullish for a long time. So there's a high tendency that our price will continue to range within this zone. That is, we have our euro drop all the way down, but we know this won't go smoothly because we're expecting USD to be bearish for the first quarter of the week, because we're expecting a retracement. So there's possibility once market opens, we have price push down a bit. And we don't jump into trades. We wait for a pullback. So wait for a retest. Then after we have a retest and confirmation, then we can enter the short trade on Euro USD. So we only wait after we have a retest and confirmation before we enter the trade on Euro USD. And we should always trade along with the trend, because we see that we are in a bearish market here. So we can also expect the unexpected. Price can also eventually be rejected at this point, and price keep pushing up. So that is why you see this trend line which I drew here on 4 hour time frame. So only when price break this trend line, that is when the downtrend is invalidated. That is when this analysis is invalidated. If price should open and break this trend line and price pushed up. So but with the look of things, we are still in a downtrend, so we're just expecting a pullback, a retest on this trend, on this resistance or trend line. There's possibly price will retest the trend line, then we look for a short trade on Euro USD. Alright, so the next pair which I'll also analyze is the USD JPY. Okay, so let me go on. Alright, so we can see what is happening on USD JPY. Alright, okay, let me go on the time frame so I won't make things complicated. Alright, so we can see that we're in a channel actually in USD JPY, and we can see the downtrend has been broken and price has been bullish for a long time on USD JPY since December, since January, just like what we analyzed on DXY. So price has been bullish since January on USD/JPY, and we don't even have a big correction. There is no big correction yet on USD/JPY, and we can see after the drop down here for this downtrend, this was a major support zone. This was a major support zone, and this is also a major resistance zone. So we can see after price broke this support, we had a retest, and price came all the way down to retest the channel here, and we eventually had a breakout. So I was expecting a retest, but we didn't get a retest here. We did not get a retest here. Let's see what happens. Okay, so if we consider this is our resistance. Don't forget, this is the resistance, and this is the support. This is the support zone. We can see what happens here. So price only respected the supports. Price retested the support here instead of retesting the trend line. So that shows us that there are sometimes price will fail to retest the trend line but respect the support zone, and price keep pushing up. So this is what happens here on USD/JPY, and price keep pushing up, and price eventually broke the resistance zone. And we are here to have a retest for us to have our new support. So but this is my target for USD/JPY. This point here is my target for USD/JPY. So for this new week, so I'm expecting price to retrace and pull all the way back to this support zone. Then I'll be looking for an entry at this point all the way up here, which will be our first target before we eventually target the big move all the way up here. But for this week, and it can even run for like 2 weeks, so it's a good swing trade to take. Just set a pending order once price reaches all the way down here. Then we look for a buy opportunity on USD/JPY around 106.934. So we're expecting price to pull all the way back to this point before we take a long position on our USD/JPY. Okay, so another pair which looking at is the GU, which is the cable. Okay, so we can see we also have ranges on here, and price, we can see price has been rejected at the resistance zone. It's a very strong resistance zone. It's a weekly and even monthly resistance zone. Alright, so, and this is my trend line, and we have a trend in the trend. You can see I have a small trend line here, and let me go on forward time frame so we can see clearly what is happening there. Alright, so we can see now that price has broken the first trend line, and we currently have a retest on the trend line, and we also have a support here, which turns our resistance. So I'm looking for a short on pounds USD all the way to the next support zone here, even though I know price will still eventually test this trend line, and we eventually have a breakout and trade all the way down. But we have to wait and see what happens once price gets to the trend line here. If we have a breakout, but we are taking a profit here, and once price breaks this point, we also wait for a retest on the trend line or the support, and then we continue to short the pair. Unless you're a position holder, then you can hold the trade for a long time. Alright, so that's my view on pounds USD. It's also a short, but we wait for a good confirmation and a retest on the trend line. It looks like we already have a retest, or price can behave anyhow on pounds USD. If you have been trading pounds USD before, you should know how this PM move. So you don't use a tight stop loss for pounds USD. So that is why it's not advisable for everyone to trade pounds USD, because the price can play around a lot. It can play around. Price can decide to come up before our expecting our analysis. So that is why we have to be more careful while our trading cable. We have to be more careful. Alright, so gold. So analyzed gold last week, and still playing out on gold. So I think gold is kind of different from the way gold move is kind of different from how other pairs move. So, but with the look of things on USD, are we expecting the market to be bullish for a long time? So that means I'll be expecting gold to drop in value, but sometimes that doesn't happen on gold. But since we're expecting bearish markets in USD in opening the quarter of this first week, so I'll be expecting price gold price to pump up this week, though we are in this buy already because I gave the signal last week that price will eventually drop all the way down here and when few pips profits already. But when you're trading gold, you have to be very careful because gold is also very volatile. You have to be careful when trading gold. Alright guys, so I don't have much to show on gold here. So if you want to see what I see more on gold, I have a video which I dedicate only on gold, so you can check it. It's on my channel. Okay, so I have other pairs which I analyzed. Okay, last pair I want to share with us is AUD card. All right, so we can see it as in bearish throughout the week, throughout last week, and we had no pullback. So I'm expecting a pullback on AUD card all the way up here, and before we eventually short AUD card. So we wait until price moved all the way up here, So we have to wait until the market presents the opportunity to us before we take this short trade on AUD card. So I'm expecting price to come all the way up here to retest the trend line, the broken trend line, and then we can short AUD card. So that's my analysis on AUD card. It's a short trade. Alright, so I just want to try to make the video very short, not too long, so we won't get tired. And I believe everything I've shared is very educative. And if you have any question or you want an extensive analysis of any currency pair, you can always inbox me, send a mail to me, the Pip Capital Academy, and you can also join my free Telegram channel. I'll drop the link in the description of the video, so you can always ask your question. I will always give an answer to it. So thank you very much, and please don't forget to like. You should also comment, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please share with your friends. Thank you.